WOLFPACK, assemble! What's going on? What's going on? It's TC, and this is DnB Talk with MC Youthstar. Firstly, if you're new to the WOLFPACK, a very warm welcome, and if you're not, welcome back. And if you find any of the information in this video useful, please smash the like button. If you're not already part of the community, part of the WOLFPACK, hit that subscribe button to receive notifications every time I upload some fresh new information. Also, don't forget to check out my samples and presets for Vital, Massive, FMA. Check out my t-shirts and hats, follow my Anthems playlist on Spotify, follow my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, links in the description. In this episode of DnB Talk, I have got a fellow DnB soldier based in France, an MC that I have had the pleasure of working with and hanging out with a good few times on road, the one and only MC Youthstar. Bonjour, ça va?
Yo, 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 what's up? Bonjour, ça va, mon ami?
You good? What's going on?
Yeah.
We just sort of jumped into it because usually I don't want to get all of the bits where it's like sort of saying hello and stuff because it's just a sort of chilled out chat one, you know what I'm saying? It's a vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah. But everything good with you?
Yeah, man, I've got to say, bro, your intro there, bro, was like, you need to go into the MC career now, bro. That was like the biggest intro ever. My days, bro, you went off, mate. I was like, wait, hey.
You know, it's all just a script in front of me. I just read it. It's not, it's in no way is that memorized. You know what I'm saying? I've done it a few times now. This is, I think, episode 16 or 17. So I'm getting more used to the sort of YouTube vibe, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, man,
good.
I feel ya. So yeah, because I've watched a few of your episodes, man.
Wicked.
I enjoy them.
Yeah, nice, awesome. That's good. I've been seeing that you've been busy as well. You've been producing quite a lot of video content and stuff, and with like multiple people doing like sort of collaborative Zoom. Is it Zoom or how are you like editing all that up?
Nah, so basically, like I started it. It's called 16 Bar Click. CLIQUE, CQUE, can't even spell today. But yeah, basically I started this off with Miss Trouble MC, who's part of all the Viper Recordings crew. And she hit me up like literally, I think it was like a few weeks after the pandemic and all this madness started last year. And she was just like, right, let's try and do something creative, not get stuck into a block of like depression and whatever. Well, back then we didn't even know what was happening to the severity of it. So anyway, yeah, we started trying to do this thing on Zoom and we did loads of tests, but there was so much latency between things, trying to get somebody to rap on this end and it to be like in time on that end was just not happening. And then we finally managed to kind of find out a way where we'd get an instrumental and we'd send it out to whoever we wanted to feature and they'd have 24 hours to write the bars for it. We'd tell them which position they had to go and they had to rap it in real time while recording it from start to finish on the headphones of their phone or whatever they had used, because not everyone has a home studio. And it just started to work. And we had a friend of ours, Dennis, who does the video editing. And yeah, it started off just something to bring artists together from any genre to be able to work, rap, producers, DJs, MCs, singers, whatever, man. And now it's kind of we've slowed it down a little bit because we're actually in the middle of building up. We're going to move everything to YouTube. Yeah. We're following on there now because the thing is, unfortunately, you know how it is. Like Facebook, Instagram, these algorithms just eat the hell out of what we try and do.
Right.
Creativity wise. So. Yeah, so we're in the middle of building that up, and yeah, it's going to be on YouTube soon and launch it properly, man.
That's amazing.
It's a good project that we're on.
I love the idea of the technicals of it and how you put it all together and you tell each person, you got like 32 bars and that's your bit. Because I've seen it where everyone's on the screen at the same time, and it's almost as if you're doing it sort of live. It's quite clever. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like the way that
because nobody knows what their bar. Nobody knows each other's bars.
So right? They hear it for the first time when you see like the full edit as well. Sick. Yeah, that's actually sick.
Well, so it was like you have the whole tune. And we're like to the video guys. So Miss Trouble would set this little 1, 2, 3, 4 count before the first note of the track or the beat, whatever.
Okay.
And so everybody has to go. They press record and they had to clap on 3 so the video guy could sync it afterwards. And we literally, everybody, so the maddest thing, when we did the BLM version, where we had like so many DnB heads in it, you know, and it was a complete DnB version. And I was one but last, so I'm like 11 and a half minutes in, right? So I'm going to sit there like this.
Wait.
For 11 and a half minutes, and I fluffed it the first 2 times.
That's long.
I had to go back to the beginning and then try and act like I'm fine and I hear what everyone's doing, when really I just hear this beat going around and around.
Yeah. Oh man, that must suck. Like having to like re-record it 2 or 3 times if it's 11 minutes in. That's I can't remember the last time I saw you on road, man. When was the last time that I saw you? Like,
whoa, I mean,
I'm trying to think. Maybe it was in Bristol. I think me and my missus came down when you were touring with Chinese man. Is that what it was? Or
we were meant to? Yeah, no, I was meant to come around yours for dinner. That was it. We were meant to come and link up with yours, and then I can't remember what it was, but we had a timing thing and whatever. It missed out. We didn't manage to catch each other, but we were gonna link up.
Yeah,
and Jake's was gonna come down as well. But yeah, I know things happen. But no, I remember you and me, we always used to link up at like foreign countries, but it was always different countries.
So
always linked
random.
up with you in a different country. Yeah.
It was always like, hello, nice to see you, bro. What you said? I think we saw each other like Door Festival maybe a couple times.
Door
or
Festival,
something.
we done. I remember, I'll never forget, the funniest one was we did a thing, I think it was called Hidden Festival or some shit. It was on an island, a little island just off Vancouver.
Oh, did we take an airplane? Like a little airplane?
Yeah. We had to take like a private little plane to this, like this, and it was a bear reserve, bro.
Was it a bear reserve?
It was a bear reserve. Fam, it had these like wooden bears all over the island, right?
My God.
Saying, beware, don't go here, bears in zone. And I'm like, man, holding a festival in a bear reserve.
I remember that festival quite clearly, and after I finished my set or whatever, they were like, here's your accommodation. And it was like this tiny little caravan, and I hadn't slept for a couple of days. And I was just like, okay. And then in the morning, the flight home, or the little tiny plane to get the flight home, was like super early, like 9 a.m. or something. So he ripped me out of my bed. Now I'm like, hold on, I didn't get paid. So like, I'm at the airport with this geezer who's like driven me to the airport, and he didn't look happy. And I was like, I didn't get paid. And then he rings up the organisers, and he like goes in the back of his truck and pulls out like wads of like Canadian dollars, because they've obviously told him to pay me. And I was like, oh, thanks so much, I really appreciate it. And he's like, it's happening, bro. It just gave me like he didn't know he was going to get that money back. Mental. That was so weird.
That night, like, it's so funny you mentioned about the caravans, because it was when I was still part of Dirty Phonics, and there were these videos that they did. I think they'd been taken down off YouTube now. It's so funny, and they did these little documentaries, and there's one of that event, and so there's you on a tricycle bike sitting
gosh.
in front of a bonfire. Shimon's there, and me and Dirty Phonics sitting around a bonfire.
I remember
and
that.
We all slept in scabby caravans. And then you and me played we played with Dirty Phonics in a wooden hut. And then afterwards you played, and then you and me ended up going back to back on the mic for like 2 hours, bro. MCTC in the place.
Oh, that sounds, you know what, it's so mad to think back on them times and just think, like, I don't know how I would have reacted now if I just probably wouldn't do them kind of gigs right now.
No. Well, saying that, I've got to be honest. At the moment, after
you take anything you can get.
You fucking offer me to play some squat party in a rave warehouse, and I'll probably be like, "Where's the mic?"
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Yeah,
go back to them cash in hand days.
It's a madness, isn't it? Really, right now, like trying to sort of survive and keep going in this time and. Yes, quelle impression avez-vous de la situation politique et économique en France à présent? It's pretty fucked, isn't it?
Hey, Hey, look at your French lingo going there,
That's
bro.
the one phrase that I know, and whenever I speak to, I know Dirty Phonics have got this thing where they write down everyone's phrase and then they read it back to you before you can say it. But
yeah, for real. Well, how's a question actually? I was wondering, like, how's it affected with you guys? Because I mean, I know how things are, kind of through Spain and France, obviously, but how are things in the UK for artists? Because in France, there's quite a lot of government help and they call them subventions. It's kind of like a government help for artists while they're not able to perform. I mean, do the UK do anything like that?
Nah, not well. I don't know. I think some people are getting something. I think if you were like straight up with your declarations on your tax and stuff, you'd be all right. And I'm 100% above board, but I structured my thing so I'm a limited company instead of like a sole trader. So I just get nothing. I think have taken I could have put myself on furlough, but then I wouldn't be allowed to do like YouTube or like run my business still. You have to literally go like, okay, you're not working. So I was just like, I'm just going to double my sort of output and just try and be as sort of like committed to everything that I'm doing and just try and get by. And it's not been terrible, actually. It's been sort of about the same as what it was when I was DJing. So, but it's a lot more work. Sort of, I'm up at 6 a.m, sort of planning and scheming every day. Do you know what I mean? Try to sort of vibe it. To be fair, mate.
To be fair, man. Like, I mean, geez, like, I think that's the kind of, it's a great work ethic, though. I mean, the early bird gets the worm. I mean, that expression, it might be old school, but it's so freaking true, man.
I was up this morning, and I had a guy. I got one other sort of person who was booked in before you for a DnB talk. And he didn't show, and I just had a message from him like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I thought it was tomorrow." And I was like, you know what? I have so much of this karma built up of me just like being a total lunchbox and totally like missing stuff. I've probably got another 5-10 years of like people not turning up on time and like just bad shit. Because of all the fucking time. I never missed a gig or anything, but there were so many times when I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I just didn't do it. And, I used to be one of them guys who just, I would overcommit to everything. If someone was like, do you do a remix for me? I'd be like, yeah, of course. With like all best intentions of like, yeah, I'll slam out a remix, not a problem. And then like when it actually comes to it, a remix takes three days. And like, when have you got 3 days to fit in like doing that work and stuff? So yeah, I just
especially when you were like touring and stuff, because I mean you were very very famous for that kind of one man solo touring. I mean, like whenever I saw you pretty much just like on your jacks, man. Like you didn't even really have your MC with you or anything. You'd be like, right, I'm off, I'm gonna go do a tour in this country, that country. Right, man's on his own. What? So, being on the road all the time, for sure, like trying to then throw in a remix here and there is just not going to happen, man.
I quite like traveling alone. There was a few times where I just sort of felt a bit like James Bond. I'd be like in first class lounge in like China or something and just be like, just sipping a bit of champagne. I'd be like, yo, like this is quite cool. But it can be a bit lonely too, especially when you're leaving like your family behind and stuff,
For real.
Like my
For
G
real,
down
it can
here.
happen. Oh, is that Rex?
Yeah, he's chilling. He loves the DnB talk. He loves it. He loves to be part of the crew, man. He's part of the WOLFPACK. So, yeah.
I feel like I know him, man. I feel like I follow him so much, like see him through you and your missus Instagram.
He's actually getting quite famous, He's on TikTok, on my missus TikTok. And his videos get more video views. One of his videos got like 200,000 views recently. And the next one got like 150K. And I'm like, yo, I keep saying to my missus, can you put some of my music on one of... He's like more famous than I am now.
Well, it's one of those ones, bro. You're going to have to start trying to get some doggy sponsors going on there,
That's what I'm saying, mate. Or just could you put my tunes on the background so that I could get them 150K plays? It'd be sick.
What's everyone doing now to beat the algorithms? I see it a lot. Like I see Tempsa does it. Hybrid Minds MC and his Mrs. Charlotte and a few other artists where. So you'll post like I don't know, like a selfie or whatever, and it's always like beat the algorithm, and then you swipe
10 pictures, isn't it?
Yeah, and then suddenly you've got all of the info of what you're actually trying to post.
Is that a beat in the algorithm thing? I didn't know that that's what that was. I mean, who knows how this shit works, mate? I mean, they really just want you to pay, right? That's what they're saying.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a quick story about that boosting paying thing, and hence why I don't do it anymore. So going back to this 16 bar click thing that me and Miss Trouble started. So we did the first 2 episodes, and we released the full videos on Facebook and IGTV, right? And so the first 2 episodes got, it has that organic reach or whatever, right? So it says organic reach, and we hit like over 40,000 views on the Facebook. First ever episode came out of nowhere.
Really good.
Organically.
Yeah.
And I was like, and this was actually on the pages. So it wasn't like when we cross-posted it, because, you can cross-post to other pages that already have followers.
Right.
This had like 50 followers or something, like nothing on Facebook, right? And so we get all these organic views. So I'm like, that's mental. We do the second one. Same thing. It's like put past the 40,000 mark in 24 hours or 48 hours. So I'm like, right, here's me and my infinite wisdom thinking, well, if I boost that on a third one, it's going to be even sicker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I put 2 and 2 together. It came up with 4. I thought I was fucking well on it. Turns out, so I think I threw like 20 quid on it or something, nothing. And well, turns out that episode got like 3,000 views.
Right.
And everything following.
Yeah. Because they knew.
Just been playing catch up.
They knew that you were willing to pay, so they're like, okay, they just like, nah,
dampen you so you pay.
Yeah, it's one of them ones. I mean, I switched over my Instagram to being like a business one, and that was a mistake. I should have just kept it personal. Do you know what I mean? Because you used to get a lot more than it does now. It's just one of them things, isn't it? That's why, I think that YouTube is really the one for me, because they don't seem to hold you down. They want your content out there. They want you to be, getting the views, because I guess it helps their advertising revenue or whatever. But we're living in a strange, weird world right now. Honestly, it's so you can't even give music away, and I don't even know.
You always got to pay to give it away. You have to pay some subsidization to send it.
It's a weird sort of world where I don't know what is going to go well now either. So it could be you spend ages on something and then it just doesn't go. And then you just sort of do something in a day and then say, and you give it a little gimmick or something, and that's what drives, and it ends up sort of going off. And I wonder if also people just aren't really on Instagram all the time, and they go through phases, and then sometimes that's what sort of makes some certain things get bigger than others, because they're just you just sort of hit the right time where everybody's back on the thing, sort of maybe chilling, and some weekends, if it's sunny outside, I kind of feel like it's not really worth posting, because everyone's just going to be lying in the sun in the park and they're not going to be on their phone. It's true. Yeah.
No, it's true, man. I noticed, with my label, Chinese Man Records, they always say, they have certain times that are right, this is the best time to drop it on this day, because this is when they follow things for weeks before, and then they see, right, well, this is when people are mostly at home or before they're going out. Or, for sure, everybody saw massive spikes in the amount of views, likes, comments they would get during the first lockdown last year, because everybody was at home. So everybody's
just on their phones. Yeah.
Yeah, just completely brain sucked into their phones or laptops, and that was it. And then, obviously when the first lockdown, people were allowed to go out again. That was it. Forget about it. Nobody's watching shit. Everybody's just whoa, I'm outside.
What I find is what's weird is we all don't like social media, and some people almost I don't think, there's almost promoting that you shouldn't be on there. But the only way that we can reach people now is through social media, which is, I don't know how we got in this situation where we're all beholden, especially in like underground music. I can understand commercial music; it's always been the same.
It's always been the same.
Yeah, you would get a billboard campaign. You would pay to get your tunes on radio. You know, from a commercial point of view, you would pay to like advertise in different outlets. But with the underground music, it was more like, you know, you would put out a tune and it would go out to like a network of record stores and they would kind of sell your tunes to the people. And for some reason, I don't really know why, I guess it's economic and the record stores couldn't survive. But as an underground music community, specifically in drum and bass, we sort of let go of all our networks for reaching the people in an underground way. And we've sort of let ourselves sort of be, you know, everyone's chasing that Spotify thing now. Everyone's chasing like the views and all of that stuff. And we're not really realizing that we've almost sort of signed to majors. We've been hoodwinked because even with our like distribution companies that we're using now, they all sign distribution deals with the major label, which is basically Spotify. It's just a madness. It used to all be underground.
Crazy. It is, man. You hit the nail on the head with that completely, bro. It's and I think the thing was, it was part of the magic. This is my opinion, but it was always part of the magic back in the day. You know, I'm back in the day now, before Instagram, Facebook, or any of that existed, or MySpace, or any of that shit. And you know, I remember I'd come home from school. And religiously, the first thing I'd do is like get home, grab a drink out of the fridge, run downstairs to my bedroom, get on the radio, and I just freaking scroll through the radio until you're like, 079, 74, 74. Right, there's one. There's the next station. I just go through until I could get the best connection on whatever pirate radio station I could find. And then through that, you know, you'd have the advertising parts in it where you'd know which drum and bass raids, jungle raids, garage raids are going.
They were bare jokes as well, though. Still, those adverts were so
for
sick.
Real, man. Oh God!
And then, what was that Jetstar?
Do you remember that Armageddon joke one where it'd go like 375 DJs, Kenny Ken back to back with Kenny Ken.
Yeah, big. That was I can't remember what his name was now, but yeah, that he's got a thing on YouTube as well. But yeah, I remember that. So did you?
It's how you found records, though.
Did you grow up in like in the UK or were you in France? Yeah. Right. Okay.
No, I grew up in London, like Hammersmith, London, born and bred, and then I left. I left the UK just before my 17th birthday and moved to France. Right. And that was kind of, I mean, it was different reasons for moving, to do with my mother's health, and also because I was a bit of a little shit back then, to be honest, as you do when you grow up in the ends. But yeah, it was kind of, but I remember so vividly. Did you have to learn
French at like the age of 17 or 16? Is that what? Or did you?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't speak a fucking word. Oh, right. No. Nothing. It was like bonjour and au revoir, but with the worst London accent ever. Like, bonjour, blood. Au revoir, brethren.
So you had to become bilingual at the age. It's quite difficult to learn a new language at that age, isn't it? Well, I guess
I picked that up faster than I am now, because now I spend half my time, like right now, like this apartment I'm in, and my it's with my missus in Barcelona, and I got my own studio here and that, and so I live between France and Spain.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to learn Spanish and Catalan at the moment, bro.
Right. Is it hard? Yeah, really difficult.
Yeah. I mean, because of the French, because I'm fluent in French, I can understand quite a bit of it. But then trying to get the responses out of my mouth in the language is just
right.
The feminine and the masculine and all the filler bits. I can get like the main point words like shop, food, home. No, right, okay. I'm going to the shop to get some food, then go home.
Yeah. That must be. I don't really know that much Spanish at all, actually. And maybe a couple, una cerveza, por favor, or whatever. Is that correct?
Yeah. Una cerveza, por favor. Muchas gracias. Yeah, knowing how to get a beer is definitely the first one I learned. I think
pretty much every language I can just about get a beer, or maybe a un verre de vin blanc or rouge. in French.
Well, you've done a lot of gigs over in France, man, over the years, man. That's when you and me first linked up, was in France many years ago.
I was going to ask you about what you think of the scene now. It's a bit, I don't know if there is much of a drum and bass scene going on is Jungle Juice still going on in Paris and that kind of stuff? I mean, it all just sort of, I remember I was playing gigs in like Montpellier, I was playing in Marseille, I was playing in like all different cities around the country. And then I don't know if it sort of like went a little bit quiet around France for a bit. For me, anyway.
Like France had... No. Like you are right. Like France had such a massive for underground music speaking. It had a really massive following. I mean, I literally started the career in drum and bass in France, and started doing like gigs in Bordeaux, and then you'd kind of build it up. But yeah, back in the day, in Bordeaux, you had drum and bass in your face. Down in Marseille, Cafra was doing gigs. Up in Paris, you had bare different people doing it. You had I Love Jungle, which then turned into Jungle Juice. You had Black Label. You had it was run by Pico and Baca. You had Massive, that was run by Elisa do Brazil. Here I Come, that was done by Gollum. But anyway, they had loads of these gigs going on, and it was awesome. And then I noticed that just little by little, it fizzled out, and the gigs, it was pretty much, there was only a few really big ones that were worth really going to, like Jungle Juice or Massive or whatever. And then Elisa turned Massive into Forever DnB, which they still do. I mean, obviously pre-COVID, where they do that at the Rex Club in Paris.
Okay, yeah.
Jungle Juice fizzled out.
Do you remember that Cabaret Sauvage place as well, mate? That was so good.
That venue, that like circular venue.
Yeah, the tent.
And you were just fucking there going off with people, man. It was such a vibe, man. You and me played there together.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, man. Back in the day.
What happened? I feel like maybe things might come back. That's what I feel is like, there'll be like new generations, and then, whatever. I'm sure techno never went away in France. Like, I'm sure
techno will always be part of France, especially the free party movement, the rave, the illegal rave scene, because it's just, it's been there ever since Spiral Tribe back in the 80s from the UK got freaking exiled to France.
Right.
Margaret Thatcher, it's a true story, man. She freaking exiled a bunch like X in the Mix, 69 dB, Crystal Distortion, all them lot that were part of the Spiral Tribe. And so they all went off to France, and then they kind of linked up with French people. And then suddenly there were all these sound systems popping up all over France, and from Technoclad, Heretic sound system, Arachnid sound system. And so, I mean, that was a lot more on the hardcore, hard tech side of things and like aggressive techno. But yeah, man, it was a massive scene, and it still goes today out there. It's crazy. So there is one drum and bass place to keep an eye out on in France is called Get In Step in Paris.
Okay.
Yeah, it's banging. Called Trebendo. They do a really good job out there.
Wicked. That's good to know. I might have to
get in on that, bro.
Yeah, try and link them, and I'll try to do that, now, because I want to play all the different territories. I don't want to just be doing like big things. And obviously, once this whole thing rolls over a little bit, I'll be getting back on that vibe and try and get into like, contacting some promoters that may not necessarily, I might not be on their radar, and just be like, yo,
I'm sure they'll be very happy to have you, man. And what's great is they really got their ear to the streets. I mean, there's a lot of new people in DnB, because I didn't follow it as much as when I was into it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's great because they keep, they're always bringing in new heads, and I've discovered quite a few artists via their gigs. So it's dope, man.
So are you in Barcelona now?
Yes, I'm just on the edge of it.
So it's like Razzmatazz is in Barcelona, isn't it? That club. Have you ever been down that spot? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I played there a bunch of times.
I remember last time I played for them, they booked me, was like me and Jake's for a headline one, and it was good, but it wasn't like the one before. They had like a dance hall sound system in the main room, and they had me in room 2, and that was so good. Like everyone just rammed into this room 2, mental, bruv. Like the best gig, I think. One of them ones where you're just like, you're not quite sure if it's gonna be like a good one, and like the main room wasn't crazy, and then just got in this room 2, this little packed out drum and bass room 2. So literally, bruv.
Oh,
so
I miss that
mental.
so much.
I'm like, I'm so desperate to get back into that sort of like thing. But I mean, also, I don't know if I need to maybe let go of a bit of that in my life until, I really feel like it can come back in the way that it was, because I just love those little ones, man. Those little bass in your
saying
chest,
that, I
bro.
reckon the little ones will probably come back before the big ones, bro.
True.
To be honest. So if there's anything, because I mean, I guess they're going to do it bit by bit. I saw in the UK, like, I don't know, man. I'm a bit wary about this thing. Everyone's going from June 21st. It's like, raw.
No, I know.
Everything's back and everyone's booked, and all these MCs and DJs who will remain nameless on their gram going, man's got bare bookings. Look at me, and I'm like, slow down, because you're gonna look like a twat when you have to go cancel.
Yeah.
I don't want to put that negativity on it. I don't mean it like that. I mean, I wish that was the case, but I mean, my group, Chinese Mail, the group that I'm part of, we've had 5 tours we should have basically done. This summer would have been the 5th tour we should have been doing, and it's now gone on to next year again.
Right.
And it was kind of more of the safe decision, not a decision that was taken lightly, nor one that anybody wanted to do. But to be honest, when you got 19 people on a road tour bus and all the rest of that.
No. I'm the same. Like, I got bookings, but they're not this year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're next year, and even next year is a bit sort of like, is it really? But I saw this thing on. I've been seeing it all over the socials, even like on BBC, like Manchester. Was it Liverpool?
Liverpool, like some gig, wasn't it? Like thousands of people in there having it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yo, are we back? Can I start sort of like hustling my agent? Like, yo, get me some. What's going on? Do I need to be doing that, or is it still time to chill? I just don't know. I'm not going to be jumping in. I don't want to put up a gig and then for it to be cancelled. That just sucks.
That's it, man. I think we've had enough of those over the last 14 months or so. I don't think we just, because it really does bring your morale down when you kind of go like, and then cancel. Yeah. And you're like, So I prefer to, I think what's awesome is, I built this studio. It's not like it's a massive production studio because I'm not a producer. It's a recording studio. Yeah. But I built this and I sat down and just was like, right, use the time to be creative and start working on stuff. And I just finished writing an album, my boy Miscellaneous, that we're going to drop later this year. And,
wicked.
And it's just like, you sit down and you use that time as productive as possible, creative as possible. Yeah. And it does amazing things for your mental health as well. It takes you out. If you've got your anger, happiness, aggression, sadness, whatever it is, you can put that down, whether you're a producer and you're making that in a musical term, or whether you're making it in your lyrics, or if you're a drummer, whatever it may be. It's awesome to be able to get all of those feelings out, I think. And you literally hear that in a lot of productions from people over the last year.
I love that energy.
Some of the shit.
Oh, so many good tunes, man. I must get like 10 or 15 like bangers every week at least that are really good. I get loads of promos and I listen through them all and I'm like, there's some really, really innovative, different kind of sounds coming through, which is really good. And actually, I'd really love to talk to you a bit about your music and your sort of production and how you do your recordings and that kind of stuff, if that's cool. Like, I'm interested to know what microphone you use and like what you're recording into, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, man. I mean, basically, like, as I said, I in the beginning, you know, when you set up a studio, and obviously I had never used even like a recording software on my own, because, you know, I always used to go into studios and record. So I've got the guy behind the screen, I'm just in the booth. Yeah. And then suddenly I was like, shit, okay, back to the drawing board, and like, okay, and I'm hitting up my boy Sembi like every other hour, going like,
how do you do this?
Bro, like, so I've imported the instrumental, right? But how do I add on extra tracks? And then I'm like, hold on, shit, but my voice sounds terrible. Where's the equalizer? And then I make it sound even more tinny than it did in the first place. And then I'm like, what compressors do I get? Yeah. How do I download it?
Right. Yeah. So what mic are you using?
So I use the C314 Akai. Okay. Which is actually being repaired at the moment. It is the C314.
I need to just look that up. 314.
It should come up there.
I just like to see what these things are. AKU Vox mic. Is that what it is?
Yeah, look here.
It's like a clone of the 3-1. Hold on. No.
AKG. Why did I say Akai? I meant AKG. Excuse me. I said Akai.
Yeah.
I meant AKG.
Was it 314 AKG?
That's it. That's the one. Sorry. I said Akai. I don't know why. It's probably
that's a good mic. Those mics are really good. I use one of those actually in I used to have a publishing deal with Universal, and they had like one of those sort of in the sort of room where you could record, like you could book out a studio, and I think Stylo G. I recorded Stylo G on one of those microphones.
Oh shit, yeah. It sounded. Well, it's good because it takes out the mid range, and I've got and some of the highs, and I've got a very, very voice, and even when I use a de-esser on the computer, that already helps to kind of lower it down.
What de-esser do you usually draw for? Can I ask what de-esser do you normally draw for when you're doing vocals?
Well, this is the thing. It's actually a very simple de-esser that my friend sent me, because again, and he only sent it to me recently because I didn't really know what the fuck it was. I was like, what the hell is a de-esser? And he's like, well, you put it on and it takes out all the S of your voice. So I was like, oh, a de-esser.
Yeah, right.
I got it. Like,
it could be anything,
I was like,
right?
The letters must stand for this huge thing. And they're like, it's pretty simple.
Just takes the S's out. But when I was first making tunes, I was in exactly the same situation. Like I didn't really understand anything, and de-esser, I thought it was like a magical something. Like you don't understand that the S is literally just S's in the vocal, and it de-esses the vocal. But yeah, I mean, it's really good. There's a lot of people watching this who are like new to production, and they may not know sort of like all the things you need to know about when you're recording vocals. So like it's always good to sort of talk to different people and get the information. And do you run your microphone into like just direct into the sound card, or have you got a preamp before you go into the sound card?
So here's the thing. At the moment, I run it straight into a sound card. Now the sound card I'm about to go and upgrade to the the baby face.
That's what I've got.
See, now like I've been speaking to a bunch of like, and not just MCs, rappers and stuff, but like singers, vocalists, and kind of just everybody seems to go back price-wise, and what you can do with it is the baby face. And also because the baby face, because they already have all their preamps and everything inside it, but you can bypass that, and then you can go and add like a really you can add kind of different what's the thing that you just said, like a really nice preamp that can give amazing warmth to the voice, and you can add those onto it instead of like, for example, like I have this little Focusrite thing quickly, which is fine, it works all right, because the mic's all right, and because as long as you have somebody that's doing all the treatment for your voice afterwards, then it's okay. But if you really want to bring some nice warmth to your voice and you really want to do it, then it's definitely, I find, worth investing. You get yourself a nice preamp that you can add to the baby face, etc. And it just works good. And more than anything, it's just always worth investing in your own art. I think, which I'm learning about. As I said, I literally learned how to start recording myself a year ago. So
it's good,
which is annoying when you think of like all the time I could have been doing this these years before. And I'm like, fuck, I was such a procrastinator because I was like, nah, I don't need it. I ain't doing this. I'd always long it off. And then the minute you learn it and you like suddenly realize that it's not as hard as you thought it was. And suddenly you're banging out tune after tune. Or when people ask for a featuring and you can go back and forth, just sending them ideas. And it's just, it's amazing. Amazing.
It's really cool, man. I love the idea of being like autonomous as an artist. Like I would never want to have to rely on going somewhere to get like, you know, be able to use equipment or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely a good thing to be able to record yourself. And I use a Babyface Pro. I'm using it now actually for this mic, and this is just going directly into it. And it's the best. I think it's one of the best investments that I've ever made in the studio, apart from the good, like having a decent computer. The sound of it is just pristine. It's a really, really reliable sort of, you know, when you buy something and it doesn't get in the way in any single way. That's all I want. Because I had an expensive Apogee sound card before, but I mean it was sick.
That's rack as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean I've got the rack version of the RME in the rack behind me as well because I liked the Babyface so much. I thought, you know what, sounds so nice. You play it twice, you get I got another one, but I mean that was secondhand. I'm all about getting things secondhand as well. You know, like I'm not sort of made of money.
Means they've had some love in them as well, bro.
Yeah, well, they've been rinsed. But yeah, I mean the Babyface is just, it's one of them ones that just doesn't get in the way, and I use it for the monitoring as well, so I can hear back through that. And it's got a really, really good set of AD converters in there, or DAs. So that you can, it's just really clean, man. I would recommend that.
Everybody said.
I know they're not cheap. They're not like, but that's the reason why.
Quid?
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, you know, some people's budget. When I talk to like new producers coming up, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this sort of cheaper sound card." I'm like, maybe just wait and keep using headphones in the headphone socket for a little bit longer till you get a couple $100 more and just go and get the thing that's going to last you. It's like when you buy a wallet and you buy like some cheap wallet and it lasts you for 6 months. But if you buy one that's like £200-300, that's going to last you for 10-15 years. And it's just, you know, one of them ones, isn't it? So yeah, it's definitely.
And it's also, it makes it so good because the thing is, because it's portable.
Yeah, true.
You can just go. You can freaking go anywhere with it. And I mean, especially for vocalists and for producers, the same. Like, you know, if you're pissing off for 2 months on tour, but you've also got a bunch of work you need to do, instead of being in the hassle of trying to find a studio in every city that you go to, rushing around and spending countless amounts of money.
What I used to do is
I would, bag.
Yeah, and like what I used to do is I get into like the closet of a hotel and get the blanket off the bed and like rack it up round the side of the thing and just get in the closet and just, you know, just do a little vocal or something if I was feeling like I wanted to sing on a tune or something, or had an idea. Or even on like a tour bus, you can just string up some like sheets or whatever. Although, to be honest, tour buses are quite a good sound in them anyway.
Tour buses are brilliant for the sound, man. Yeah, mate. We used to do it on our tour bus. We had a living room on the
second
room at the
floor,
front of the bus. Close it. The only thing is you have to keep your head down a little bit.
Right.
But you just in there dropping bars. It worked brilliantly.
Yeah, sick.
But I mean, the sound card I got for now, like, which is literally, as I said, just waiting to get the Babyface on good old Tom Ann, because we do love a bit of Tom Ann online. I can scroll for ages on that site. I mean, honestly.
Sorry, that's a good website actually. I'd say Thomann. It's a German company, isn't it? Yeah.
You say Thomann. Sorry,
no, it's all good.
Here in France, we always go.
Thomann.
You have Thomann. You know Thomann. Thomann works very well for anything that we buy the music.
C'est très bon.
It's very good.
It's a good website. I like that website quite a lot, actually. I find myself on there quite a bit too. I'm an eBay guy too. I'm just like, I want to find all like old just like equipment
I
on
get
eBay,
funny with
bruv.
eBay. I get funny with eBay just because I don't know. Like
You
I
don't
noticed
trust the
it.
man's.
I get worried because there's so much counterfeit things on there that I've got into this
Right.
space now that I'm worried that anything I buy is either going to be broken, almost broken, or fake.
I'm trying to think. I think the last thing, there's a blue thing here that I bought off eBay, which is like it's a MIDI converter thing. I actually bought that other sound card off eBay as well, but I'll usually kind of actually that one was Reverb. Reverb.com's really good as well. But I usually just message them, and if they sound like a dickhead, then I probably won't do the thing. And like I've had mad experiences with selling on eBay where people would just like they'll get the thing when I sent it, and then they'll just say, oh, it's broken or something, when I know that it was not broken when I sent it, and it's just one of them and I'm just the guy to be like, refund whatever, and just don't send it back. But I went through this thing of just trying to like get rid of all the possessions in my life that were sort of superfluous to the needs, because I feel like it's quite easy to get sort of shackled by your own possessions, and like there's a little part of me that feels like if whatever you couldn't fit in a suitcase and sort of chip with is really like not really needed, even though in music I got to have like a rack of gear behind me, and I got to have keyboards and computers and speakers, but I often feel like I kind of wish I didn't have so many possessions quite a lot of the time. I'm always like, yo.
I can roll with that, man. I fully understand it. My missus has got me into Vinted recently, and she was like, Jay, you have so many clothes and everything, and you got like just like go through filter because I'll get rid of clothes. I put them in like a bag, and I know there are certain spots in areas or streets where I know if I put it there within 5 minutes, some homeless people will come along and they'll be able to get the clothes, and I'm like happy to. Old sneakers that I don't use and clothes and that. And she was like, well, you can make money off this stuff, man. Look. And I'm like, who's going to buy this? And she's like, watch. And I'm like, oh, okay. Fair play.
Yeah, that's cool. My missus is the same. She's very like thrifty, man. I love it. Like if I say to her, I want something, then she'll just be like, she'll find a deal on it. That's just mad. Like some mad deal.
That's brilliant. Sorry, I'm taking you to the kitchen.
That's all good.
With myself a little drink.
Okay.
Lunchtime beer.
Oh. Going in. What's the time?
I'm an hour ahead of you, so I get to cook.
It's not like
it's almost midday.
This is why I like Spain and France, because you go there and it's just like a different laid back vibe. Do you do the siesta thing? Do you do that? Are you on that siesta vibe?
So I personally can't do the siesta vibe. Cheers, by the way.
Right,
everyone.
Cheers. I'm drinking coffee.
Good man. I've had a few of those this morning. If I have any more, I'll start involuntarily emceeing double time.
Peanut, right.
The siesta vibe, I can't do it. If I'm genuinely exhausted, which would have happened on tour, then siesta is the one. But on a day-to-day life, if I have a siesta in the middle of the afternoon, I'm disorientated. It completely throws me off, and I get up and I can't get back to work or being creative or productive.
Yeah, interesting. I find I hit a lull at 4:00, but I think it's because I get up so early. I'm up at like 6 a.m. and I'm working like all the way, and I hit like 4:00 and I just don't really know what to be working on. So I started planning out my days a lot more, and that's really helped actually to get more stuff done in the day, because I don't want to say it again, but I really would like telling people about it, but I've already said it on like the last 3 DnB talks that I've done.
I'll bring it on, mate.
I got this whole like system that I built, which is like my mind maps, and I've got this like day flow thing which I follow every single day with like all the things I want to do each day, because you do the same shit every single day, But I always find that I don't really know what it is that I should be doing. So I've just got it all kind of listed out, everything, all my responsibilities. Mainly so that my missus doesn't say to me, "Oh, have you done this yet?" And I haven't done it or whatever, them things. Just like I got to open the curtains in the front of the house so that the plants get like the light, and like I got to remember to take my vitamins, and I got to give the dog, because he's 9 years old, so I got to get him, like, he's got to take these pills called You Move, which is like for his hips and stuff. And it's just all those little things that I used to be so bad at like remembering all that. So now I just got this sort of day flow list, and then I got this sort of capture list where everything that I think about goes into this capture list. But I actually keep this like daily journal now in my notes.
Wow.
So every thought that comes into my head goes into the journal, and then the good ones go into the capture list. And then I've got this action list, which is like basically all the actions that I need to get done. But I've also mapped out like every project that I'm working on, because I know you're probably like me. You've got 100 different projects that you're working on, and it's hard for you to quantify all the things. And I was just really stressed out about all the things that are in my head all the time. And there's a thing this guy called David Allen brought up. He's like designed this whole thing called Getting Things Done. And his basic premise is that we're all kind of stressed out, and we're addicted to the stress of keeping things in our heads. And if you can just get them out of your heads and into a system, whatever that system is, all of that ambient kind of anxiety just sort of dissipates, and you're like, like super chilled. It's actually really cool. Some people look at me like, what? Because they're actually quite organized, and like normal people who can actually organize their life. I'm not that guy. I cannot I'm so disorganized. My mind is constantly in the clouds, just thinking about like creative ideas. And like, so basically, I just needed something that was going to help me to organize my brain. So I created this whole like mind map system.
Brilliant. Honestly, like I think that's absolutely amazing, because it's I find that like with myself as well, every single day or the evening before, I make a list of what are the main things that I need to get done tomorrow, right? And then I obviously after I have those, I have the kind of Jamie time where I can decide what I want to do for me. I give myself a couple of hours a day that I want to do for my free stuff, like whatever that may be, paint my freaking nails. But yeah, I find that having something visually in front of you every single day, and it's like a target list, right? And in that target list, the thing is, every single time you cross off one of those things that you've done, it's a great feeling. Yeah. It's just like, and then as that list goes down, it kind of works as a snowball in positivity, and it brings you up, man. Which in return, you're working better, you're being more productive, you're getting shit done, and you're being happy and being positive about it. It's brilliant, and it's just a win-win in every case.
I call it going clear when I get my list done. So I'm like, I'm going clear that day.
Gone clear!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like, what I really want to do is go clear on everything on my lists. I have got lists like literally, there's like record labels, there's like all the different aspects, and I'm just want to go clear on the whole thing. And even though I know that things are going to keep coming into those lists, I feel like I've sort of worked out a roadmap now that I can work to get through the things that need to be done, instead of like having this sort of like just massive overwhelming feel of just like, wow, there's so much stuff that needs to be done, I don't even know what to start on. So just trying to work out a system for that. And I guess one of the things is, when you make a list, it makes you feel better. So why not just have a list? You say you do it anyway daily, so that's amazing. But like, why not do it daily if it makes you feel better? It's definitely
exactly
yeah, for real. So, and
it's hard to stay positive, like, and I mean it does get to you. I mean, I have, obviously, like we all do, we have up and down days. But I mean, especially kind of since this pandemic and stuff, what I did notice is, and you know this very well, when you're on tour all the time, and when you're not on tour, you're at home and you're working in the studio, but you're busy so much. So all those stresses, the worries, the things that you should have been getting done that you haven't, or whatever, they get put back in your mind, and you don't have time to really concentrate or think about things that might might be negatively impacting you subconsciously. And then what I did notice is when suddenly I'm not doing all these gigs and I'm at home a lot more, all of that suddenly started to come to the front. And that was stuff that I had to deal with, you know, and I'm already like kind of sorting out with therapy and things like that, not because I'm losing my mind or whatever else, but because, you know, there are things that build up over the years that you put on the back burner. And now it's like, when it's all come to a front, it's to deal with it. It's mad.
The thing that really impacted me was the fragility of like how fragile our industry is and how fragile like my life was. You know, I was already sort of doing other businesses to sort of bring in a little bit of income on the side of not doing gigs and not doing music. But I was like, it made me realize, like, even if this mad sort of, you know, situation hadn't have gone down, if like for some reason I couldn't get on road anymore, like how exactly was I going to sort of support my family and pay my mortgage and that kind of stuff, you know? But I guess this runs real deep with like, I remember when I was first starting, I felt like I was invincible because my outgoings were so small that I didn't have to rely on the income and I could just make tunes and like not have to do things, and it made me so much more hungry. Whereas, and I looked at the older heads and I was like, yeah, I can tell that you're just doing this as a day job to pay that mortgage. And I was like, now that's me. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, rah, I'm going to step up the game, bruv.
For real, man. It is a thing like that. I mean, once you kind of, you know, we've made this our career, music, you know, and I mean, you spend so many years trying to convince us and the people around you that, it's not just about having a bit of fun and a bit of a party. Like, this is a job, this is a career, this is what I love. And I'm just lucky enough that I have something that I'm passionate about that I'm actually able to live off, which in itself, I mean, no, it's not lucky to a degree because we work our asses off to get to where we are. We didn't just fucking appear there out of nowhere. So when people say, oh, you're so lucky, I'm not sure if that's the right term, but I do feel that that can be an acceptable term in the sense that to be able to live from something that you love so much is definitely a pleasure. It's definitely a bonus. You know, you don't have to wake up and do your 9 to 5 and be screwing. But then now I'm looking, it's like my missus is a teacher, and, you know, she's been working all the way through this whole thing, you know, and being able to have an income. Whereas mine hasn't been that case, you know, and it's been back to the drawing board and being in the studio and that. Luckily, you know, over the years, smart enough to put money aside. And because in France, we have a thing called the intermittent de spectacle, which is a specific legal status for artists, technicians, or anybody that works in the music industry in whatever aspect that may be.
I don't understand why does England not support its artists in the same way? I mean, I remember I would go to like France and I would see like performance artists on the street, and I felt like there was like a deep respect from the French people, even to people who, you know, conduct that kind of activity, doing, you know, performance art. And I think art is much more celebrated in France than it is in England. I feel like I remember I used to go to New Zealand and the guy that booked us was like, yeah, the government would pay for me to get a flight to go up to the next island just so that I could play a gig. And I'm like, England would never do that. They don't give a fuck, bruv. And it's like, it's such a fucking sort of big industry in England. Do you know what I mean?
It's so huge.
That's
massive. That's what's so twisted. UK is like in the music scene. I mean, some of the most famous musicians of all time, legendary, have come out of England, you know, and still are coming out of England and continue to come out of England. Some incredible artists in every spectrum of music. And yet, like, the government help or respect for artists is absolutely nil.
It's weird. It's weird, mate.
Whereas in France, like, I mean, check this. for example, like, so last year, when all this madness hit, pandemic bollocks. So not only you have the SASM, which you guys in the UK have the PRS, I think it's called, right?
Yeah, collection agency, yeah, right.
Yeah. So what these lot did, so not only, I mean, you know, here in France, you get paid every 3 months, right? But what they did was first they did an offer anywhere for, it was a 500, 1,500, 3,000 or 5,000 euros, depending on what your case is, and it was case by case. So you had to fill in a dossier, say what your family situation is.
You know,
I
think the PRS actually did do something similar like that in the UK.
Yeah.
But I would never have qualified because, you know, I wouldn't believe that I would have qualified for that. But maybe I would.
Well, this is what I thought. Because once you start getting in, I mean, you know, you get, I get like a sufficiently decent payments from them each year, from royalties, because of all the people that I've featured with in the past, and a lot of names and all of this. So anyway, they did that payment, and I got like a nice payment from them. And then they did another thing. They were like, right, so listen, because of the situation, what we're going to do is we will advance you 10% of whatever you earn, what you earned from us the year precedent.
Okay.
And you don't have to start paying that back, like they're advancing. You don't have to start paying that back for another 2 years. And when you do, we only take 5% of each payment off, just to pay it back little by little. So you don't even notice.
Yeah, fair.
They did.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, my bank are desperate to give me a loan, bruv. I don't know. Every time I jump on the thing. No, I know. No, I'm not that guy. I'm very financially sort of, I try and keep myself sort of educated in that sense. But I do worry for some people who are sort of sort of not so savvy about the fact that, you know, you shouldn't really get into debt. That when your bank is that, my bank's like, you're eligible 35 bags. And I'm just like, what? Like mad. Like I can imagine some people will be like, 35 bags, I'm taking it. Do you know what I mean? Of course,
mate. You imagine in the middle of a pandemic when you pretty much lose your career and your savings have all been freaking depleted. And suddenly, like, your bank turns around and goes, "Oh, I'll give you a 1.4 APR."
Yeah, it's
like 50 bags.
Yeah, it's mad. It's a madness, bro.
You know?
Yeah.
But then you suddenly realize that it doesn't matter if you have that 50 bags or whatever, because you end up using that 50 bags to pay back the 50 bags.
That's what I'm saying.
You're just getting it to make yourself feel like you got 50 grand, but you ain't got it at all.
I would like to see that number in my bank account, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, it's one of them things, isn't it? Yeah.
It's not the one at all, man.
What's the next thing for you now? What have you got? You said you just recorded an album, and then are you working on things and stuff? And I'm guessing that you're busy. Yeah,
man. So basically, like this year, as I said, me and Miscellaneous, who is the rapper, he's a good friend of mine. He's a rapper from a group called Chill Bump, who are very well known out here in France. Out there in France, as I'm in Spain at the moment. And he joined the Chinese Man live show with us.
Okay.
And so he's now like my partner in rhyme in that live show. Obviously, we haven't been able to perform the brand new live show, the Groove Sessions Volume 5, because the pandemic hit 2 days before we were going on tour.
Long.
Bro, we're in full rehearsals, got all 19 people there,
wow.
all the stage set up, the mappings, the whole thing, and then went through. So to go to that, so me and him decided that we were going to write an album together that we release on Chinese Man Records later this year. We're doing actually the first official news drop on the 6th, so in 3 days. But yeah, it's an album. We're going to do like 4 singles.
Yeah, sick.
We got Pavan from Foreign Beggars on
sick.
there.
Wicked.
Yeah, Pav's my boy, man. I love that guy. Also, like, I mean, you know, he was one of my inspirations from time. R.I.P. E-Boat.
Yeah.
Enough love.
R.I.P.
So yeah, we got him. We got C.W. Jones, who actually Pav introduced me to. He's an amazing singer from Bristol. You know, he's Eva Lazarus.
Who's it? Jay, who's it?
C.W. Jones.
Oh, C.W. Jones. I'm not sure if I've heard of him.
Do you know Eva Lazarus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's her baby father and man.
Okay.
So yeah, he's on it, and we got like Skills, who's like now 3 times in a row world champion DMC scratch with Vex back to back. So yeah, it's awesome. But the thing was, it was just kind of it was a great time to make the album. So we got that coming out this year. We're already working on the second album before even releasing the first.
Oh, you're busy on music, man. I'm excited for you, bruv. You know what I mean? Like, it's good.
Well, I'll send you the album, bro. Like after this chat, man, I'll send it over to you. I'd actually really, really love to have your feedback.
I love giving feedback on hip hop albums. Another guy who has just featured on the TC DnB talk is Armani Rain, and he sends me periodically like the most amazing hip hop tunes. And the new ones,
he's a sick rapper, man.
He's just done this thing with Bro Safari, like 4 or 5 tunes, and they are so good, so good.
Yeah, man.
Like,
they're a good team.
You know, when you hear like flavors that are like, it's just like the universe in my mind, bruv. I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, man. You have to start writing down your ideas of their things.
Well, you know, I've been thinking recently it's time that I released a record like the end of last year, and I've been organising actually with my system all the tunes that I've been writing, because I'm very prolific, but I don't really release everything. So I've just been going through a lot of stuff and working out like what the next sort of project is going to be. And it's quite inspiring talking to you about how you've got stuff going on and you're releasing music, and it's wicked, man. I love that energy. You know, it's actually an inspiration to me that you're getting on with it and doing it, because I'm so long and slow and I just sort of potter on every day. And I've been thinking, I wanted to do like a bit more kind of vocal orientated stuff myself, and I want to get like my vocal booth set up and that kind of stuff. So you're getting me inspired, which is awesome. I love that.
Well, that's a very big up coming from you. So I'll take
it's all good. I find myself feeding off people's energy, man. You know what I mean? When it's a good vibe energy and good mind people, then I'm just all about that, and it inspires me to be like, I'm gonna swap sound cards over, put the other sound card in the vocal booth, get going.
Start dusting off some of the old things and go, let's get this toy out and start cracking on.
Get writing, get moving. You know,
it's like I think as well. I mean, as I said, Miscellaneous, who I'm doing this album with, like he's just a really, really sick rapper, right? And the thing is, obviously, because I came up through the drum and bass scene and everything else, and then moving on to hip hop and that, and the main reason I did that actually was because at some point I found that in being the drum and bass MC, like live drum and bass MC. After a while, I found that I was always kind of like, make some noise, put your hands up, let's go. And I don't get me wrong, I love doing the crowd hyping and all the rest of it. But if you want to try and push yourself forward as an artist, as an artist yourself, and kind of get your lyrics really heard and get your things really heard, it became quite difficult doing that as being a host. This is in no way shitting on drum and bass in any way. I freaking love DnB. It's in my soul.
It's a whole different vibe, you know, unless you did like a whole drum and bass vocal project, you know, and then you could tour that in that thing, you know what I mean? Then it would be working in that way. But, you know, from an MC thing, you've got vocals, you've got lyrics, and I've, you know, worked with you many occasions. You do drop the 16 or the 32, you know, but it's not like it's all about you. And I understand that. No, but that's the point of it, is like, you know, what you wanted was to do stuff where people would sing along with your lyrics and they would know all the tunes. And I totally get that.
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants, really.
Yeah, it's like the way producers are, you know, like when you make tunes, right? I literally could not tell you even an estimation of the amount of times I've said, take a step back and jump to people and going along with the song, and like when it goes, take a step back and jump. You know, and so for you, you know, when you make tunes, and you see so many people like singing along the melody of your beat or the vocals that's in it, and it's a huge thing, you know. And it's not, when I say this, it's not in any way trying to be like, oh yeah, I want people rapping my shit, but it's,
you kind of do though still. I know what it's like. I kind of want people to be singing my tunes, bruv, you know, like
for
everyone
sure,
wants to be the star of the show sometimes. I like it personally. I'm like, woo.
But I mean it in the sense that, you know, people to actually appreciate what you're doing. That, yeah, I think that's it. Like, to appreciate what your skill set is, you know. And it was definitely to be able to perform songs in their entirety, you know. It's lovely to really do like verses, chorus. You got the bridges. You bring different artists in, and I think like Chinese Man really gave me a massive platform to be able to do that, because they were already such a big group in France and around Europe. And then to kind of go on there, and they treated me like, the first time I ever played with them, they treated me as their equal. I mean, they gave me 2 songs to do a 16 on each song. Right. And they said to me, they were like, if this works, then they said, pack a bag. If this works, you put the bag on a tour bus and you're coming off with us tonight. If it doesn't work, thank you very much for coming and doing the show, and big up. Well, like, obviously, no stress. So I'm like, do the two songs, right? And I go in the backstage and I'm kind of sitting there rocking back and forth like I'm on fucking meth or something. Like, and he comes back in the backstage, Fred, the label manager, the manager of the thing, and he's like, you got your bag? And I'm like, yeah. And that was it. Like, freaking, I got on a tour bus. Next day, I'm playing in front of 12,000 people just before Method Man and Rec 1.
Yeah.
And I just went, what the just happened? Yeah. Like, what? And that was it. And then suddenly I went off on this tour. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I like this. I want this. I want this. Well, it wasn't to do with the size of the crowd, but just the rap thing was
the whole thing is just so much fun. Like, the whole tour thing. And yeah, I could see how it could be like, yeah, I want this. And it's there for you to take. So definitely, man, you got to fucking just get it. Like, make them tunes, bro, you know. And you got a great opportunity, actually, as shit as this time is, to actually write all those tunes and, you know, start developing them hits, and just, you know, developing your style. And, you know, it's just great. I'm excited to see what's coming for you, man. It's gonna be good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And what about you, bro? Like,
I don't know what the
throwing
fuck.
the question back at your direction now. Are you on beat making tunes at the moment? I see that you've been doing kind of like, is it like master classes a while back and
I did
like
one I did like one masterclass for a thing. For like a uni recently. I've been doing a lot of YouTube content, and
I've seen that a lot.
I never stop writing. Like, I really enjoy writing. I feel like I've got some really, really good stuff in my mind and planned out, and I just want to take some time actually for personal development before I start unleashing music. I know it sounds a bit weird, but like, music is just a kind of second nature for me. I can definitely write sort of bangers and get them out there. But
you certainly can.
What I really want to do is make sure that I'm ready within myself to be able to cope with that workload and cope with the responsibilities of, you know, being able to present it in the right way, and also build the packages of the tunes so that they have a certain vibe, and, you know, that I want it to be
certain content and quality that you want to be able to. That's brilliant.
And I think that's going to take, you know, probably 6 months to a year before I'm ready to sort of start unleashing new bits. I might, you know, drop a single here or there, but really what I want to do is work on some next level kind of secret projects now, because I've been so open for the last sort of little while. I did 30 tunes in 30 days, all streamed on the internet. And
dude,
I was
that was mental, by the way. That was mind-blowing.
28 tunes, so it wasn't 30 tunes, but
February. It was so open, and so like, you know, everybody felt like they had ownership of those tunes, and that's awesome too. But now I feel like I want to do for my YouTube, just speaking to people like you and sort of connecting with people and offering service, you know, being in service of the YouTube watchers in this way, instead of, you know, making tunes live. I feel like it's better to be bringing like interesting conversations to people, and then secretly in the background just working on some madness. I think that's dope, man. I think that's really dope, and it is always a thing. I mean, a lot of kind of producers and stuff. Sembi, who I work with an awful lot, he's this amazing producer, French producer, and he ghostwrites for quite a lot of big people, and he's mixing and mastering for a lot of big people. But he has, this guy's just a workaholic, you know, it's amazing. He has like 3 main groups, and all of those groups are like successful French music groups while doing his solo stuff. And I always get blown away by, you know, I've sat in a studio with him countless times, you know, be there like this, and he'll have his screen going, and he'll have like the Facebook thing going here, and then this one going here on that, and he's like multitasking beyond all belief and working on everything, and he gets it all done, and I kind of sit there like, oh my God, how do you do this? He's like, well, what I'm doing is I'm setting everything up for the next couple of years now, and I'm getting it all done now when I can. And he's while creating, like, what's this thing called? Patreon.
Patreon. Yeah.
Patreon. And he does like these masterclass thingies on here, and it's crazy. But I mean, I guess, you know, we're going back to what you were saying with social media and these things, like, we kind of become a bit of a slave to them, whether we want to or not.
Yeah.
I guess in certain instances, though, it's great to be able to use those. If you can use those platforms in the correct way, like you're doing here with your YouTube channel, and it's brilliant. You're talking to a bunch of different artists from all different aspects of how things are, even though it's DnB Talk.
You know what? I don't care how famous you are, as long as I've known you and I know you love drum and bass. I want to talk to you, and you're famous. Lovely, you know, you're on the levels. But not everybody's all the same followers on the ting or whatever. Like, not everybody's got the same amount of everything. You know, everyone's on their journey. But, like, I don't want to miss out on, like, that promoter who I could talk to in, like, you know, I want to talk to promoters. I was even thinking, it'd be quite cool to talk to, like, some door staff to hear what their, like, stories are. Do you know what I mean? Or, like,
fam, I bet they got some freaking diamond stories. Sound
engineers, like, lighting guys, you know, photographers. I'm interested in everybody who has like a story, like where they come from, you know what I mean? I don't
that's
think
amazing.
That's what it's all about, man. That's what drum and bass is, right? Because you're primarily like a hip hop guy, but you've been a drum and bass MC for a long time too, and like, you know, I just really love people who are really into drum and bass. And normally I start these conversations off with, what was the first drum and bass tune that you heard? Like, normally that would be the first thing that I would say to somebody, but we've been just getting on, so it's all good. But I'm interested to know, what was the first drum and bass tune that you ever heard?
Drum and bass, I'm off now. Bye.
Can you remember?
Oh man, I'll tell you what I can. I remember the first ever CD I bought.
Wow. Okay.
And that was Jungle Mania '94.
Right.
Yeah, I was 9 years old.
Okay.
And yeah, I basically, so at 7 years old, believe it or not, I was into music. I was born into music in the sense that my dad was very jazz, classical music, and he had this setup in his living room with it was a quad amp and these KEF speakers,
right,
specifically for only, not to do with bass, it was just to do with jazz, classical, in your face, high end, fucking. So that, I mean, my dad used to blare that out when my mum was pregnant with me, apparently. So, you know, I've always had music. So yeah, going into that, I used to get £2 pocket money every week. That was what I got, £2 pocket money from the age of 5.
Flossing.
So yeah, man, swagging it out, mate. Pick and mix all day long.
You know they're not penny sweets anymore, right?
Oh man, yeah, but mate, the fruit salads and blackjacks were an addiction, bro.
Blam.
Blam. So I saved up this pocket money and that, like, and you know, one of the things that I wanted, I had been shown by a friend down the street. His older brother used to blare out jungle, and that was it, just blaring out jungle music. So I was like, what is this? And then I heard an MC. Yeah, I heard an MC, but it wasn't it. So it was actually, it was a remix of a tune called Under Miss Sensi featuring Barrington Levy and Beanie Man. It's
okay,
got
so
Under
it was
Miss
like
Sensi, Under Miss Sensi.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So
Scene.
tune. But that would have been like a remix. Jungle remix.
It was a remix.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a jungle remix, and it was on the Jungle Mania 94 album.
Right.
And so he had this CD, and I remember the CD epically with a kind of orange background, the green lettering. I remember the thing. It was my first ever CD, innit? I bought it at Woolworths.
Yeah.
Remember Woolworths?
Yeah. They still got that in Australia.
And that was the tune. Bruv, oh my days. And that was the thing. And I remember the first tune on it was Original Nutter. And it had other tunes on there. It had what's it? Oh fuck, what was it called? Oh my god! And they had a tune on there by Nicky Black Market.
Right.
That, so but just a really like Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
Like really old tunes, and that was it. That's what like got me into it. So yeah. If to answer that long-winded story, the first tune would have probably been the remix of Under Miss Sensi, Barrington Levy, and Beanie Man.
Yeah,
definitely Junglist.
Yeah. And how did you find yourself getting into? I guess you were always into the jungle and drum and bass, and then when you moved to France, like what was the first rave that you went to? Can you remember? Like what was the first? Actually, no, not the first rave, but what was the first MC experience? And were you nervous when you went on the microphone for the first time?
Wow!
Did you beg the mic? Man. Did you beg the mic,
bro? You don't understand the beg mic. The beg mic was levels. Oh, hold on. Sweet. Yeah, that's all good. So my first MC experience. So it was at Le Quatre Cents. Yeah, which was a very iconic venue, which has long since been demolished and buildings in place of it. And I went in there with a sign. I wrote with a big black marker on a massive piece of A3.
This is the ultimate mic beg, bruv.
And I just went, I'm an MC from London. Can I have the mic? And I stood there on the front row. I swear to God, it's a true story.
Sick.
And they let me on stage, and they were like, right, listen, you can't be on the mic this time, but if you come back next month, blatantly with them in mind that I wasn't going to come back, right? So if you come back next month, you can touch mic, innit?
Right.
Bro, I was outside the venue at 9 p.m. sitting there for 3 hours before the doorman even got there. I was outside like, yeah, where's the mic? Where's the mic? Where's the mic?
I'm ready.
And they gave it to me.
That's
and they
really
said,
nice.
Listen, if you MC over a mix, we lock the mic off.
Yeah.
So they locked the mic off 4 times through that night.
Right.
And then I went back and they were like, don't MC over a vocal track.
Right.
Don't MC over the mix.
They basically schooled you in what you should do.
Schooled me one show.
Yeah. Because everyone hates when you MC over a vocal track. I hate that, bruv. When there's a vocal, unless you're doing a harmony or you're just popping in just like
unless
in the
you're
gaps.
Stamina or Dynamite or Cleveland Watkins or something where you can like sing that shit and do it really well, don't.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, I've played some games with some MCs before where I just slowly just like, turn the mic down until it's off.
Bro, this has been done epically to people.
It doesn't work. And I'm like, oh no.
And you just like,
where's the engineer? Or just turn it off every now and then. Just like if it's going through the mixer and they're really annoying MC, like, and I just they'll be like, who and then they're just.
It must be so bad as well. Like, I've thought this many a time. It must be awful for a DJ because you're getting them blaring through your monitors. And
you know what? Not
just,
all MCs are bad. I'm not saying I don't. I really love working with professionals, and I'm not even saying that someone has to be on road for 10 years to be a professional. Like, some new people are really good too, but some people are just not socially aware or even like musically aware. And I can't abide by working with somebody where it's all about them when it's not. It's about us and them and the rave and everything. And that has to be in the mindset, because otherwise, you know, if it's just like a crew of kiddies who come on and they're literally just like eating the microphone and it's just literally
and
just
the cable
so they can impress their girlfriend or whatever it is, then, you know, it is what it is. I'm just like gonna lock you off, or just be like, chill, just chill, it's all good. Like,
it's really nice what you said. Actually, it's about you and the vocalist of whoever that may be and the crowd. I love that, because, and to hear that from you especially, because this goes back to what I was saying earlier, you know, like why I kind of moved more to the hip hop thing, because I wasn't able to do anything. It wasn't because I wanted to be the center of the show either. It was because a lot of, again, nameless, but there were certain drum and bass artists who I loved their productions, whatever, and whatever. But when they got on stage, they couldn't give a toss about what they would ask for the MC because they wanted an MC to be with them. But then they'll either do a mix where it's impossible for the MC to do anything on it, or playing so in the red that it saturates everything. So if you are a professional MC, you wouldn't want to do anything on the mic anyway, because it makes it sound even worse. You know, and all these kind of things. And they also forget about the teamwork, where it's like...
Yeah. I like working with MCs, and then when they're doing a bar and it's a good bar, I'll just drop the music.
You look at each other.
Yeah, and I'll drop the music, and I'll be like, let people a cappella. Man. Yeah, of course.
And you'd be like looking at me going, yeah, go on. Yeah, and you buzz off it, man. And you're having a laugh together.
I think that the crowd can really see that, you know, even though we may not have really worked together all that much, I mean, we have worked together quite a few times, but we're not. It's not like we rehearsed in a rehearsal room or anything like that.
Exactly.
But just on the fly, we both know what's going on. And if I give you a little space to drop a thing, or like, you know, to really go in, and I'll select a tune just for you so that you can have a lyrical space in the set. You know, like something with just beats and bass. I do it with most MCs if I'm working with them. I mean, sometimes I'll find out like who I'm working with, and then I'll find their tunes and take those tunes in the dance if they've got a drum and bass tune. You know, like just let them have their little bit as well. Because it's not just I'm on the flyer, but they're on the flyer too. So it's not like it's a teamwork. It's a, you know, it's a joint thing.
That's freaking awesome to hear from you, mate. Like, honestly, I think if it's unfortunate, I find that not everybody. You're always going to have people that are different or awkward or more difficult than others, but if everybody could kind of have that general consensus when they go into a dance, like, and whatever, it'd be awesome. There is something I noticed, and I've always said this. I've noticed there are so many producers and stuff in DnB that they have their MC, their preferred MC that they want to work with, but yet they never make a tune with that MC ever.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That's a bit weird. I could probably think of like maybe 5 or 6 different examples of that, where they literally. I used to work with Jakes a lot, but we did tunes, and I wish I got booked on more lineups with Jakes, to be honest, because I would literally just do a mega mix. Man. Yeah, it's so good. I never understood why some people wouldn't make tunes with their MCs. Like, why not even I just don't get it. But it is what it is.
My thing is, it's like, if you want to work, you're so happy to have them on stage with you, then you must obviously respect their art and their pen or whatever it is to a degree. Otherwise, you wouldn't work with them on stage. So why not like go and work with them at least on a tune in the studio? If you're strictly a host, okay, then maybe not. It doesn't make sense. You're not going to go in the studio and be like, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. 1, 2, 3, let's get, with an over-exaggerated voice. But it's just, I think it's important for more producers DJ producers to make tunes with the MCs that they work with, man, because it means the world to the MC, and also like there's so many crowds and fans that always question the same thing.
Yeah,
so,
if you had a hit together, it would make the show so much better.
Yeah,
it's not going to take away from anything.
The hit. And
even if it's just like literally something like a hook vocal before the drop or something, just to be like, man. You know, because they're on the line. They're on the lineup with you. So just like, why not just spend a week together and just make a fucking tune? But yeah, it is what it is. I can think of quite a few examples of that.
Yeah, we'll leave that on the nameless list. Just start getting bunned off on YouTube.
It's all peace and love. And to be fair, like, you know, maybe they just never thought of it. You know what I mean? So like maybe, I doubt if anyone would ever watch this from that world, but you know, it might sort of get in there. They might think, oh yeah, maybe we should make tunes with our MCs, considering, you know.
Yeah, I think it's important. But I remember like back in the day, I mean, like, you know, Ed Rush and Optical work, you know, they worked with Ryan Time and did a tune with him, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah.
What was it called? Why? Was it Why?
I don't even know, bruv. You're schooling me now.
Oh, days. But yeah, like, I mean, there's been a few in history through things, or when Stamina and Marky worked together.
Yeah.
Lyndon Groots are really, I'd be like, oh, God. You know, I don't want to sing that Barcelona tune again.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm done singing that in the dance.
I guess they might get bored of their tunes or something like that. But
we're saying that, man. Yeah. Like with Chinese, man, we got this tune called they've got the tune called I've Got That Tune. Right. And it's pretty much like, it's definitely the kind of tune that's most known by them worldwide. It was on the Mercedes advert.
Right.
Kind of
It's
what helped launch them.
I think I know that tune. Yeah. Are they sick of it? Are you sick of it?
Yeah. And I remember like when I do that tune, and they made me kind of part of that tune for the live shows. Right. And we only stopped playing it. No, we still haven't stopped playing it.
No, you got to play
it. New live show.
You got to play it.
Yeah,
You got. I've said this with other people in these talks. When you get booked on a lineup, they're not booking you to play your new shit. You know what I mean? They're booking you to play your old shit. Yeah, they want you to play the shit that everyone knows. Unless you're sort of like one of those super too cool for school kind of guys who's literally just making them like really. I don't know. A name that comes to mind is someone like Alex Perez, he's still got to play his hits. I feel like you wouldn't, like if you went to see him play, you'd be a bit disappointed if you didn't hear a couple of the hits. You know what I mean? That his biggest tunes. I think everyone has to at least have. I try and have a little mega mix, not pre-made, but I'll have all the tunes in a little section of like TC, and that'll be sort of three quarters of the way through the set, and I'll just drop like all the hits in like one little piece, you know, so that at least everyone could go like, oh, he did play Where's My Money Deep, you know, Get Down Low, Tap Ho, all them tunes. Like at least he did sort of come and do that thing. Bro,
you're every artist that I've ever played with in drum and bass has always dropped tunes of yours. And it's like, and I mean that goes from Andy C, you know, and every artist coming left, right, and center around. Doesn't matter how big, small, everybody has TC tunes in their collection to play out. And it's because my opinion, like, and the opinion of many people that I've spoken to over the years, the thing is like, you make tunes that are quite timeless in the fact that, you know, you can play tunes that you did 10, 12 years ago, you bang them out now and the place just goes off. Not only because of the nostalgic vibe that might bring, but it's also because the tune just goes off.
Appreciate, you know, that,
and and it's as I said, it's timeless. You know, you can play one of your older tunes now and it sounds like it was saying it's done now anyway. I think it's probably because, again, in my opinion, but I think when you were doing tunes like, you know, Take a Step Back and Jump, I always forget the name of that. I know all about
it's just called Jump, so it's nice and easy.
Oh, there you go. I just like to add on a bit. Take a step back and, you know, just to add on the title. But, you know, like that tune was ahead of its time when it dropped, man.
Thank you, man.
Like, So, and I do, yeah. Every time I've seen you ever play out, man, you have your little moment where you're like, right. And there's always a slight little variant, like, oh, this is a slight little VIP bit.
Oh, the VIPs.
Bosh.
You got to drop the VIPs. I got one actually of Jump that Chris did. I'll send it to you. It's a sick VIP, bruv. Yeah, mate. Yeah, got some like.
Yeah, Chris is a bad boy, man.
He's so good as a DJ. I'm always in
ruthless
awe.
On the decks.
Yeah, it's a murder, bruv. It's murderous fire. I know that he's planning a lot of. I talk to him quite a lot, and I know he's got a lot of plans about what he's doing now, and it's sick. I'm excited to see what Chrissy's got coming up. But yeah,
it's
man,
amazing, man.
Well, you're looking very healthy, and I'm glad that you're in a good place and making music, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to hear what you've got coming. Man. So yeah, and I appreciate you so much for spending some time with me today. It's just brilliant.
It's an honor, mate. You're kidding, bro.
It's so nice to catch up with people that I don't, it's been so long since I caught up with, people in the drum and bass and just people that I really like that I come into contact with in my life. And this is just such a great opportunity to be able to reconnect and see what people are doing. Like there was one mate that I spoke to called Sam Interface, and I hadn't spoken to him for like 4 or 5 years. And it turns out that he's like massively successful working in London, and he mixed down that Boasty track, Boasty. He mixed that down, and I didn't even know, and he's like smashing it, and like it's just so good to see people, doing well and healthy, and it seems like everybody is sort of learning so much now from the internet. I feel like about personal development and how to sort of like meditate or whatever it is that you're into to sort of like better yourself. It's beautiful, man. It's a great time.
Yeah. Well, I think as well, like the kind of the mental health issues and things like that, it was such a taboo subject for so long. And whereas now people are just, and this is where social media does have its positive sides, it has been able to like connect people, and people that were kind of would be shy to talk about these kind of things or open about them or whatever. It's given people platforms to be able to be open and more kind of truthful about stuff. I don't know, just in every aspect. Like it's really good, man. No, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I think it can be positive, and just the amount of information that's out there for everybody now to be able to learn about things that I was just never have known about. Like it's just mad how much schooling you can. I probably learned a lot of my schooling from like Open University when I was a kid. When the late night on Channel 2, and there'd be like sort of university programs about all kinds of different subjects. And now it's just YouTube's basically that, where you can just, whatever you're interested in, there's some old geezer sitting in the garage that's basically tells you everything you need to know about it.
It's literally find out how to do anything. Anything in the world. Anything in the world, man. And you see like freaking, it's like the tutorials. As I said, like when I was trying to learn to use Cubase, I called my mate a lot until he got to the point he was just like, bruv,
just go on YouTube.
Just like go on YouTube and leave me alone. Stop blowing up my phone.
Please.
And then I go in there, I was like, oh yeah, it was just that button there.
Everything's on there. It's just great. It's the best thing. So, man. On that note, mate, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you, man. Baba. Yeah, big up. It's so good. So good to talk to you, and I hope we can do it again, because it would be really good once your album's out, and maybe in a year or whenever we can just get back together and talk, do some more DnB talk. It'd be really good to talk to you again. So yeah, thank you. Also, man, also on ending that as well, would love to potentially in the future get you involved in one of the 16 bar click episodes on a DnB special. Potentially, like I have to see how I feel about it. I like the idea of it, but whether I'm organised enough to actually do it, I don't want to commit to things. Of course. And then
no. It's an offer in the future.
Okay, cool, wicked. Yeah, I'm not saying no, but I'm always saying, I don't ever want to commit to things that I could potentially lunch out and then fuck everyone over. Do you know what I mean? One of them ones.
Nah.
Yeah.
The door's always open for you, is what I mean, brother.
Bless you, man. So yeah, safe, bro.
All right then, brother.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, big love, man, to you
Safe.
three, the missus and Rex.
Blessings.
Take care, my bro.
So if you found anything in this video interesting, please smash the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you can keep up to date with all that's new from me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any ideas for future videos, I read all your comments. Don't forget to join the Discord server and check out my links to the samples and presets in the description. A massive big up to the WOLFPACK and MC Youthstar. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.